Hello, good evening, and thanks for joining us as usual on Majority Caucus. We are live on your Joy News channel. My name is Ali Dawood, and today we are going to discuss the issue about the presidential pardon. But of course, that's the headline. We would specifically narrow the issues down to the remission. We'll tell you all about it, what it means to have the rest of your sentencing remitted. But the important point that I need to make before we go for commercial break is that the president is still on his tour in northern region, and as part of his tour, he had the occasion to inform the teeming crowd that gathered to cheer him up that Akufo-Addo is a dictator. To this extent, we've had Mustafa Hamid, who has attempted to do something that he would consider as a response to what the president said. What Mustafa Hamid needs to understand is that when parties have a fallout, for instance, the NDC is known to have had a baby called NDP or even a reform party. That is all well and good. But that does not make a flag bearer of that party a dictator. What really makes you a dictator is to abandon the rules of organization, what governs the conduct of the members within an institution or organization, such that a presidential candidate would boldly state that as for Mr. A or Mr. B who have been elected as national executives, I cannot work with them. That is what makes you a dictator. Not that people defect to go and form other subsidiary political parties. No. And so I need Mustafa Hamid to understand the proper definition of what constitutes a dictator. If you are found to be leading demonstrations, it doesn't make you a person who fights against dictatorship. Otherwise, I'm sure that there are countless number of people who today could best be qualified to described as leaders. But the mere leading of demonstration would not make you a good leader. We have had history in this world where people who have fought against dictatorship ended up being worse than the dictators who they were fighting against when they were given the opportunity. We have seen in this country, within MPP, Akufo-Addo can simply not tolerate any dissenting view without the threat of sanction being meted out to people who disagree with him. We have seen that. That is what makes you a dictator. A flag bearer who cannot unite the rank and file of his own party. We cannot trust the safety and security of this country in your hands. So Mustafa Hamid, the spokesperson for Nana Akufo-Addo, if you think that the president merely granting remission to the montie is what divides this country, then you need to revise your notes, because there are people who have committed even worse crimes. People who have committed murder, they have been granted pardon, not even remission, pardon. And this country did not fall to the brinks. So we need to put this discussion in a proper context. People who are intellectuals owe it as a singular responsibility not to devalue the political debate. Running up to the 2016 election, we want to see more substance-based discussion. And merely because we've been given opportunity as a spokesperson for the MPP presidential candidate does not in any way give you the power or the mandate to speak about the president in the most derogatory manner as you did today. You know what you said. It's not worth repeating on this show. Stay with me. This show would kickstart after this break. Hello, and you welcome back to the show. If you are just tuning in, this is Majority Caucus. We are live on your usual channel, Joy News channel on your multi-TV. My name, as usual, is Ali Dawood. I'll be your host for tonight's discussion. Tonight, I've been joined in by the most powerful people in the NDC communication team. One of them, of course, I need to be very careful the way I introduce him. He is no other person than Mr. No, not Mr. Sorry. Owula means Mr. Owula Mangoti. the man from Shai Osudoku traditional area. I need to get that description very proper. Shai Osudoku traditional area. He is in the studio with us, and we have lawyer Kojoga Adawudu also in the studio with us. They will be telling you all about what the remission means, whether or not it's a license for people to continue to misbehave. They will tell you whether or not this is to energize the base of the NDC. We would also inform you, and whether or not at all there's any merit in granting this remission, you will also be informed. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming.
It's a pleasure.
It's a joy.
I don't know whether I should do law or I should do social.
No, do law.
Discussion.
Do
law first.
Do law first.
Political legal.
Exactly, political legal. Counsel, you were in the league. You were in all the meetings, even to up to the end, and you know what went into the granting of this remission. Just your perspective as to what it means and the trouble that the president had to go through, because it was no mean a thing to do. You share with our viewers.
Yeah, Ali, thank you. Let me also take the opportunity to thank you for inviting me, at least, to come in with my fellow comrades and brethren.
By the way, you were here doing it off, I remember.
Yes, I've been here for some time, and I've come back to the program. And I believe that our people would always want to listen and know what is the truth and set their record straight.
Yeah.
When it comes to, I have always said the remission that has been granted to this montie 3, it is part of the constitutional democracy that we craved for, we had gotten. It's a system of governance or arrangement we have asked ourselves. We said we needed that constitution. And let's be very basic in discussion. We have 3 arms of the state. We have the legislature, which is parliament. We have the executive, and we have the judiciary. These 3 arms of government had been given specific power, duties, and responsibility. When the montie issue happened, it falls within the confines of the law. And all judicial power in this country, which emanates from the people, from the professor to the porter, from the kayayo to any person, all that power, we have agreed that it should be given to the judiciary, and they should exercise that within the confines of the constitution. So the judiciary itself, if it is subjected to the constitution, what the constitution says. Now this montie issue happened, and across board in this country, everybody said it is regrettable, it's unfortunate, and they themselves from day one said that upon retrospection, we realized that we have crossed the line. We have erred. Forgive us. So they had been apologizing from day one. The judiciary did its job. That, yes, we have heard your apology. We think that you've crossed the line, so we will punish you. And they were punished. Everybody was to pay 10,000 Ghana cedis, which is old 100 million Ghana cedis, with a fine of going to the custodial sentence of 4 months each. So the judiciary has done its job, which the constitution gives them that power. And when it comes to contempt, it is not defined to say from 0 to 50 years.
As if they have infinite powers.
It is infinite. You can do anything depending on the gravity of the offense. It was after that the constitution also grants power to the president under Article 72.
The same constitution.
The same constitution grants power to the president. Now, this is the constitution that power has been granted to the president the contemnors being advised or seeking counsel from their lawyers find it proper, deemed it proper that let's go under Article 72 and plead for the prerogative of mercy, because we know this is a man of compassion.
Indeed.
So that's what they took the opportunity. There have been precedents that people had gone, not that the president grants amnesty to people. The Sakande example is there, that
by the way,
he went by petition, just as the contemnors had done. And when this petition was considered, then he was granted that. So the petition was considered by the president, and within the constitution itself, because for president not to just get up and act arbitrarily or capriciously, has put an inbuilt mechanism within that same article and says that if you want to exercise this power, go to the Council of State. It should be on their advice. So send a petition to Council of State. So that serves as a break. Whether Council of State is weak, as people are saying, that it's a consultative process.
Indeed.
And I believe, with the greatest respect, the people who sit at Council of State, I don't know how much we can buy their conscience.
Indeed.
How much we can, throw some handouts to them and say, do this. No. These are people, eminent people,
Indeed.
people who have served in public office, people who had seen it all before. They sit in Council of State. And they also looked at it and they felt that, yes, the president can go ahead. And that's the reason why the president exercised that power. Now, under Article 72, let me give about 3 or 4 steps. One, the one is that serious, is that we call it pardon.
Okay.
That pardon is that after everything, president can say, walk, go away, free, don't even serve.
Okay.
Everything that you have been slapped with, imposed on you, have cleaned the slate.
It's as if it never
It's as if nothing had happened. So the Council of State, the people also looked at it and said, no, the people had been guilty. It is against the values of society. Even as a society, yes, let them be punished.
Indeed.
But we think that it will be too harsh to give them that amount. Looking at it. So the president gave them a remission that, yes, serve the 1 month, you've paid the amount, any lesson that you have learned, it doesn't matter the span of time, that lesson will have been learned. If it's a day, or even 10 years,
and
that lesson will have been sent.
Political and social commentators who have argued actually concluded that the payment of the 10,000 is also it amounts, so it's equivalent to serving an additional month, and so to them, these people have served 2 months, because if they had failed to pay the 10,000, that would be an additional.
They would
month.
have gone for 5 months.
So the fact that they paid the 10,000,
yeah, they paid it, because the court has what it can impose. Now, I believe that this is a lesson, and even don't forget that this imposition and the sentence with the apology has even caused the families of these 3.
Indeed.
They've been put under embarrassment, they are distraught, and within them, they have learnt lessons. Even the families, to an extent. I always see Article 72 sometimes as a tool of reconciliation. It's a tool of reconciliation that was given to them. Look at somebody who even murdered. And you see the bitterness between the family. But at the end of the day,
loss of human
when
life.
time has healed, the president feels that, look, let's reconcile.
In fact, let me emphasize, this is somebody who ought to be on the death row.
Yes.
Ought to be killed.
Yes. But you see the good thing that has come out of that. He's now preaching the word of God. It still comes to the compassion. It still comes to the compassion. So the conviction stands. The president could also have decided that, let me suspend the imposition. They won't even serve, because he had the power to suspend it temporarily or suspend it indefinitely.
No.
That don't even serve it. Go and sit at home. I've suspended the sentence and the conviction. I've suspended it. I'm the president.
So the outcome of this remission actually shows that the president tried as much as possible to strike a balance.
He struck the balance
between making them face the consequences of their actions and also showing them mercy.
So if people come and they say the president has left them off the hook, it is not true. Let somebody try it. Let somebody. That's why the president, even in his, if you look at the tenor of,
so we should all be guarded.
It's like we should be guarded in our language. We should respect state institutions. Where does it go? It still comes back to the values. People can run their state institutions, public officials, and say anything and think they will go scot-free in the name of politics or anything. That's what the president has signed a caution that please,
which I would recommend that people should take this
as we
more
move
seriously
into the political season, which Obama would call the silly season.
Indeed.
Right?
All sorts of things.
All sorts of things would happen. And he says that be careful once you go into this. So I believe he has struck a balance to make peace within society. And I don't think with this action, he's divided society. Society was becoming polarized on these issues because everybody within the spectrum of society says that, listen, it is wrong. However, everybody
also agreed
that we think it is harsh.
It was a unanimous voice.
Yes, and you see, when you look at what had happened, when there had been contempt, people have been punished. You know, I don't think it was more than a month.
No.
You know, Ken Kuranchi had 10 days.
10 days. Atubiga 3
I think Atubiga had some days. Sir John was forgiven. He paid a fine. I think this are to serve.
Whose, by the way,
lesson.
comment was most outrageous.
So I think that what the president actually did was to exercise that his right, based on compassion, based on the law, and I don't think anybody can fault him and say that, Mr. President, you are wrong.
Absolutely.
You are wrong.
And
nobody can even say that Council of State, you were wrong.
Of the
now,
judiciary.
you see, it's that the people who are even making this comment, unfortunately, had also been in government. They know the workings of government. The Constitution states clearly that Council of States meetings are in camera. When we say it's in camera, that means that it is not open to the public. Yeah. It is open only to the president, Council of States, and any other person Council of States wants to invite. Okay. So if they take a decision, it does not have to come out for the consumption of the public. Okay. So if Council of States makes any advice or decision to the president, it should not be expected that it should come to the public domain for us to know.
We want to know what the Council of State said. I mean,
that would beat the letter and spirit of the reason why the framers of the Constitution, in their wisdom, saying that, look, these are grown-ups. It's just like you go to the chief palace when issues are being discussed. Then they said, let's go into camera and take a position. When they come, they say, this should be done, this should not be done. You don't ask them what's the thinking and wisdom that went into your decision.
That has been settled.
It has been settled. And that's how Council of States operates. And it's not for the president to come and give reasons that Council of States says that this is what should be done. So as a president, I'm giving reasons. I think it's not been done. And they've been there before. They have done
should
it
not
before.
redefine
And now
the
they want to
Constitution for
redefine
us.
or shift the goalpost and say that what the president has done. Yes, we agree legally he's right, but we think politically it is wrong.
When politics
I don't think
that
that
constitutional provision.
Yeah.
Let me just inform our viewers who are always the third guest on this show. I said you could join in the conversation on our social media platform, facebook.com/Joy News on TV. One word, facebook.com/Joy News on TV. One word. And then WhatsApp number 0560800,000. You know the numbers. By the way, President Kufuor, prior to exiting office, granted pardon, let me just use that word advisedly, over 400 people, or let me say prison inmates, over 400 of them, before he exited office. So these records are also there for everybody to go and verify. But there has been other angle to this story. They say it will cost the president his political fortune.
Good.
Or election fortune, I don't know.
Good. Well, in the first place, I want to say that I speak on my own behalf.
Indeed.
And on behalf of the voiceless majority who have been involved in the vigils that we've had, praying His Excellency the President to have mercy and compassion on our brothers who we all agree went overboard in the statements that they uttered against our revered justices of the Superior Court of Judicature. We have all condemned them. They have also shown remorse. Their counsel went out there and, without disclosing client counsel confidentiality, actually said that, this contemnors feel remorseful. So I speak on behalf of those many voiceless people and to say thank you to His Excellency the President for listening to our prayer. I also want to say that we will be welcoming our brothers back home, back into society. And we want to say that we will welcome them in a very quiet, not quiet, in a very decorous manner.
Okay.
It's our expectation that the leaders of the montie 3 movement will educate our members so that nobody goes to taunt the judges.
Okay.
Our radio stations, Radio Gold, TV, Montie FM, and then the TV station, TV Gold, will make sure that they run programs in such a way that nobody in society will feel, aggrieved, because the president extended an olive branch to all sections of society. So we don't have winners and losers in this matter. It's a win-win situation. So I can assure you that I'm part of a team that is making sure that at least we pilot this re-entry of our brothers into society in such a way that it's not going to be like, oh, these are guard dogs that we jailed and then you are unleashing them into society to come and make noise. So on behalf of the group, I can say that we can promise that we're going to be very decorous and decent in the way we do things. Now, back to the issue, the question you asked. Maybe His Excellency the President may not be aware of the significance of the decision he has taken. Maybe. And I'm talking here from the perspective of a voiceless person in the society or in the NDC. But His Excellency the President has proved to us that indeed he's a warrior. That he is the great-great-grandson of the Gonja warrior king in Deura Jakpa. That's when he's being dead, taunted. He would, in all humility, listen quietly, but show that indeed he's a man of steel. And for me, a trench worker, frontline trench worker, who believes in the issues and goes out there to deliver, President Mahama has shown me that I can swim, run, climb to campaign for him so that he will have a second term. And this evening, I pledge that whatever I, Ola Mangote, and the many voiceless people have to do to ensure that President Mahama crosses over on 7th December, he'll do it. Why am I saying that? Look, you know I used to be in Korea.
Yes.
Korea is far.
Very.
But I believed in Professor Mills, so I would come from Korea, come and speak on radio, go back to Korea, and then maybe about a week or a week and a half, I'm back. Because I believed in him. It's the same way he showed me, Professor Mills showed his method, what he's capable of doing. That is somebody you can stand with. I am saying, President Mahama has shown the same qualities. That is somebody you can really put your hand in fire for. But he's added a new dimension to his qualities by showing me Owula Mangote from Shai Osudoku, a warrior from the Dodua forest, that this is a fellow warrior, great-great-grandson of Indeura Jakba. And so we can join our forces and fight and make sure that people get to know that we don't have first-class citizens in this country.
No.
And we don't have second-class citizens in this country.
No.
It doesn't really matter whether we are from Bole Bamboy, whether you are from Sukura, whether you are from Taingbe. If the duty of call comes and God has favored you, inshallah, it's your time to rule, we will have to follow you. So for me, those are the basic things. Now, people taunted the president and said that if he pardoned or reprieved or did any remission exercise for these three, he will lose
the
elections. Some have also said that, oh, well, that will be his funeral.
That's lawyer Okujeto.
Some have also said that, well, his legacy is forever. Some have also said that something that we all mourn and feel pain about, the unfortunate demise, passing of Prez Mills will happen to his President. So now he has given a remission. Let us see how it will translate into a victory for Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in December 7. Because they should be rejoicing.
Absolutely. That was
they should be
my point.
Look,
if you believe this will inure to his deficit, then you should be happy.
They should be rejoicing. So when I started hearing or reading a statement from Nana Akumia that the president should reverse his decision,
otherwise he will lose,
or lawyer attach saying that this is constitutional lawlessness. But these are ingredients. In fact, the president has given you a gift. MPP, the president has given you a gift, a political gift, which must ensure that on 7 January 2017, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo should go walking the corridors of the Flagstaff House. So I am also daring all of you to ensure that what you said, that the remission of the sentences of the montie 3 will happen. Please let this happen. On 7 January, let's see Akufo-Addo in the Flagstaff House. Else we'll hoot at you. We'll hoot at Akufo-Addo.
It reinforces the notion that the MPP is going into this campaign with no message. Any act or any step the government takes, it becomes their message. Remission of sentence. Now, that is the basis upon which people will vote against that. But I will take your response when we come back. I need to do just a little exercise. Let's go for a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with me. And hello, thanks for staying with us. We are still on Majority Caucus. We are live on your multi-TV. There's an interesting twist to this montie 3 remission that the president granted the discussion cannot be complete without making due reference to the statement issued by the MPP soon after the remission was granted under the signature of Nana Akumia as a spokesperson for the MPP campaign team. It is very important to note that in the statement, Nana Akumia made references to the fact that the MPP is a party that does not supervise or superintend over insults against leaders of an institution. It is very ironical, to say the least, because I remember Nana Akumia on Newsfile right here insulting Honorable James Ajenim Boateng. I'm restrained in repeating the words that he used, so I am not going to do that. Nana Akumia also was a campaign spokesperson when Gabi Asari or Tridako insulted Honorable Dr. Omani Boama, also right here on Newsfile. I saw no statement condemning such utterances. Nothing. Nana Akumia was also the spokesperson when Osafo Mafu made very disparaging comments trying to divide Ghana, apart from the regional boundaries that we have, into further ethnic or regions that ethno-tribal regions, or in factions in terms of how much resources you produce. According to Osafo Mafu, if you are coming from a region that does not produce any natural resource, you are incompetent. In fact, you should be disallowed from assuming the reins of the governance of this country. I.e., if the northern region is known not to produce anything for exports, for instance, then Prez Mahama is not competent to be president. Nana Akumia was the campaign spokesperson for the MPP. Not even a single sentence condemning some of these outrageous comments. Yet, the grant of this remission to them has presented an opportunity once again to demonstrate their double standard and hypocrisy, so long as the political discourse of this country is concerned. And so it is important that we note and point out that these contradictions ought to be taken very seriously. The NPP is not a party that we can trust the future of this country into. It's very important that we take this point very seriously. As to why this is important, Ola Mangote is not done yet. He will tell you more. Ola.
Yes. Before we went for the break, you asked a simple question about the president, as campaigning. So let me take a second, That man, political astuteness, give it to him. You see, he's out there campaigning.
Yes.
Whilst some people are lapping onto a bone in Accra here.
You're campaigning outside Ghana.
You get it? He's out there campaigning. And people are here issuing statements, in the first place fighting among themselves, deciding who should attend meetings and not attend meetings. Their chairman is in court. He's filed an appeal against the recent unjust, judgment against him. But they are here. But the president is out there, touching the lives of people. People are reaching out to him. Look, he's telling them, look, there's this 616 bed University of Ghana hospital. You go there, I tell you, amazing. You have this 420 rich hospital, bed rich hospital. You have the 385 bed Bolgatanga, hospital. The 250 bed Ashanti Regional Hospital.
The Kumasi 37. They prefer to call it Kumasi 37.
That's right. So whilst you are here,
I can't forget about Kotu Kraba Market.
Yes.
The Cape Coast Stadium. I can't feel not to mention that.
I tell you, my brother, those of us who are the full soldiers, this election is going to be community-based. It's not going to be community-based. So please sit here and be issuing statements and then talking about, logical illogicalities. Sometimes you really don't understand what the MPP is putting out there. You actually don't really understand sometimes what Nana Akumia himself is putting out there, because the statements come out, and when they are subjected to street proof, they are unable to really...
I always describe the conduct of Nana Akumia as the only consistent thing about his conduct is his inconsistencies.
Yes.
He's been very consistent with his inconsistencies.
Yes.
He's doing well with that.
Yeah, that's it. And for some of them are just the reasons why Akufo-Addo will still continue to be an opposition leader.
Indeed.
You get it? Some of the people who are running, who are supposed to help him, they are really the reasons why he continue to be an opposition leader. So what I'm saying is that in talking about this montie remission, the fact that Acumia could sign a statement asking the president to reverse his decision, wow, didn't they do any proper consultation to know?
I am still at a loss.
Hey.
A political party that is fighting, campaigning to win power. Your opponent is engaging in an act that will inure to your benefit. And your sole clarion call is to remind them, oh, you are mistaken, correct yourself.
I think
you should be happy. I have listened.
Yeah, you see,
amazing.
I have listened to the statement. I've listened to commentary that have been made.
Amazing.
I think, and I believe honestly, that it is a trap that being set to pit the judiciary against the party.
Obviously.
And obviously would extend to the president. To say that, Mr. President, what you have done, there should be a wedge between the judiciary, which we should avoid.
Indeed.
To be in it, because they are trying to judge the party based on its past history. So let's say that, yes, judiciary, what you have done was right. Then the president comes to clean it off, so that in the mind of the people is a pardon. That you have done this. And we should be careful that we not get into that trap. Because the judiciary should understand that they have done their job. They had finished. All the president also did was to exercise his constitutional right, his power. You know, because it's been managed carefully to say that we've slapped the judiciary in the face. How would the judges feel? And I'm telling you that somebody who is worth and he's called to the bench as a judge normally doesn't really care about the judgments he has made.
Excellent.
He tells you that, yes, if you think my judgment is not right, go up and appeal. Simple. And I'll even be interested in the judgment we refer the 3 wise men or the 5 would give. Because it's a learning process for everybody. Nobody has monopoly of knowledge or repertoire of knowledge.
Indeed.
But if you watch the commentary, the way things are going. And second, and more important worry I have is that they want to judge the party based on its past history that we do not know how to reform. That we do not know to see that, look, it is crooked, now we have changed. It is surprising or paradoxical that they said they were apostles of democracy.
Rule of law.
Rule of law and human rights.
Now, there was, everybody has to say, but now what do you find within their party? It tells you that we have learned in a positive way, which we have reformed, but they are taking a path that is distracting. Path to distraction. Are you getting it? And once this happens, they want to push us into that we and the judges, and we are saying, I'm telling everybody who calls himself a member of the NDC should be careful not to fall in that trap.
It's an invitation.
It's an invitation we are going to decline, and we should not, because it's just something that you say, and you say something that will hurt or injure the feeling of a judge or somebody. Look, we have recognized the judiciary.
Indeed.
Since we have been in power. I will tell you that even when issues came, when President Mills came initially, there were issues with the judiciary here and there. He was able to strike a balance. And governments, organs of states are to collaborate and work.
Indeed.
Right. So I think that the president should also look at it, and I believe he's politically astute, and the judiciary also can see the in-between lines that they do not allow
the MPP to knock our heads.
not allow people and social commentators to knock our head. It's an institution. We will remain the same people. We will work. The judiciary will need the executive. The executive will need the judiciary. Parliament, legislature, and we will have to work together. So this, their invitation should be declined.
Indeed.
And we should be.
Yeah. Just a little point. You see, I, as he said, I really cannot imagine a judge being peeved that something has been done about his or her judgment. Okay. When the due process has been followed, follow the due process. I think you lawyers are there saying is it functus officio?
Yeah, functus officio.
You have functus officio. You finish your job, and no judge would say that, oh, you go on an appeal and then you fall. No one. So that agenda that has been said by the MPP is a wrong agenda. It has no legs to stand on. The question they should ask is that when Anas did his investigations and something needed to be done, what was the process? Who was the one that was appealed to? Who had the power to decide what we should be done to the judges?
It still goes to the constitutional powers of the president.
And get it, when the Chief Justice was asked to do what she needed to do and she finished, who was the final person?
You took it to the number one gentleman.
Excelente. She took it to the person who was clothed with the power and authority to remove the judge. Why? I mean, she's the head of the judiciary. She should have done that. So the Chief Justice and the judiciary know that they will need the executive. They will need Parliament. The executive will need the judiciary and need Parliament. Parliament will need the executive and then the judiciary. So we work hand in hand. It's like a three-legged table. If one leg is off, we will not have a good balance. So that agenda is going to fail. Can you imagine who was it that when the head of Shraj needed to be, removed? The petition. Where did the petition come from? Who petitioned that the commissioner of Sharia should be removed? Who? And who did the person send the petition to?
Okay.
Are you getting me? Who did you send your petition? If you say that the president has no power to handle this montie threatening, when you petition that the commissioner of human rights and administrative justice should be removed, who did you send your petition to? Did you recognize his power and authority given to him by the Constitution? And when you did it, did the president oblige you? He did. Where is the commissioner of Shraj now? By the powers conferred on the president, the commissioner of Shraj is not there. Abu Adamu Sakande, member of parliament for Boku Central, commits a second degree felony. Second degree felony. And he was sentenced, first convicted and sentenced to a certain term of imprisonment with hard labor. And then a petition was sent to somebody who had the authority, was vested with the power. The framers of the Constitution said, you can invoke your prerogative of mercy. Bopa no bope, I mean, it is yours. I mean, it is for you to decide. No, prerogative of mercy to decide the fate of this person. And is Abu Sakande working freely? Good. Who decided it was this person? Look, people can go to jail even at the mercy of the president. No, at the pleasure of the president. You know, they can jail you and you go to jail at the pleasure of the president. So, at the pleasure of the president. I mean, you are lawyers. At the pleasure of the president. This president has so much power. So you see John Mahama walking about in Wulensi, Bimbila, and then Salaga, and then you think that he's your co-equal. You understand? People will eat something, slap their
Because
stomachs.
they say we are doing politics.
They are
In
doing
politics, there
Look,
appears to be no respect.
their mind is powerful. But because it comes from a traditional setting that has really taught him values about respect, humility, and that knowing that, oh, where you are is by the grace of God, then inshallah, if you want a second term, God will bless you with it. That's why he's not making any noise. But this is not a person. He has the power to decide. And so in this call, he did not slap the judiciary in the face by saying that, hey, you, these guys, what you did, I really, accept what you've done. No, that's why he didn't give them a pardon. He didn't give them a pardon. He just decided that, look, let's have a remission. You've suffered enough. You are traumatized. Go home. What we can also promise, as I said earlier on, that we will accept our brothers back into society. We will not count any judge. And please, anybody who decides to say anything against the judges, you are on your own. If you are in the NDC, if you work in Radio Gold, if you work in Montie FM, you work on TV Gold, and you go and say anything that is suggestive that you are taunting the judges or the judiciary, please, I am saying you are on your own.
Yeah, Ali, let me dispel this notion.
But I want you to do that right after I've read just a couple of messages. Our viewers want to know that we are in receipt of their message. This one is from Michael Osai from Obuasi. He says, in my candid opinion, the mandate which has been exercised by the president is a step in the right direction. No political score should be attached to this. If it were to be so, then there are numerous ones which we have not talked of. Is that I really love your panel by virtue of their in-depth analysis pertaining to the reaction coming from the Montie 3. This one says, all of a sudden, the MPP communicators have become advisors of the president. They are exhibiting their mediocrities to the level that all their counter-argument against the president's decision are unconstitutional. When they shamefully threw the ugly statement, President Mahama has pardoned the three because they are NDC members. They have forgotten that the Boku Central MPP MP, that's Honorable Adamu Sakande, has equally been pardoned by the same law. Well, then, they don't have the message for the people of Ghana to vote for them. These are the only ways to prove the competence they claim they have. Demonstration would not win election. That was from Simon in Accra. This one says, I have listened to the debate concerning the Montie 3. I have known also that there are many hypocrites amongst us, especially the so-called elite in society. I'm a floating voter, and I have learned that the president is very wise and bold. So I am voting for JM Tuaso. One more. This one says from Augustine from Obuasi. From Obuasi. Granting of remission to the contemnors in accordance with Article 72 in consultation with the advisory committee of the president, other bodies, and not based on individual person participation. The message clearly is not. It's not clear.
I want to dispel. The agenda that why is it that people who have spent 20 years, 30 years, or are on remand has not been pardoned by the president, by the Montie 3, because they believe that they are members of the NDC. I think that argument is flawed.
Okay.
The Prison Council or the Prison Service Act has provision that anybody who commits a criminal offense under Act 29, which is the criminal code, and other offenses of this state, that maybe you've committed murder, rape, defilement, armed robbery, all this one, there's a guideline,
sentencing guidelines,
which even the Prison Council would have to look at your health, all this that the Prison Council looks at and advises. Then you can be given a pardon. It makes exemptions about contempt. It makes these exemptions. Now, 72 also stands alone. That it's one mechanism you can petition the president to act. The argument is that why is it that they did not go through the guidelines and give reasons? There are two different things. One is guided by the Prison Act, and one is the Constitution. And the Constitution is the highest law.
Another
it does not bind the.
It's called the parole.
The parole.
That's one
Yes.
is reserved for the prison council.
The prison council, they can do it themselves.
Yes.
You know, so when people are mixing the two, that the president should have also consulted the prison council, and the prison council will give guidelines, because this is what they are saying, that so people are there. But every year, conventionally, by convention, in July and December, the prison council would do what the act says it should be done. So they should not confuse the two, or they should be confused that these are two different mechanisms, specified ways of doing things. And this Article 72 says, go to Council of State. It never says that go to the prisons council.
Because this is absolute power for the president.
And this is how to, who bring people to believe that.
I can understand the desperation of the MPP. They are clutching at straws. So let's muddy the water. So everybody gets confused.
So
they won't know the
people should be clear that there are two different sets of things specified by law, and how any law that specifies how things should be done, you follow that.
We've run out of time, but there is another emerging debate. People are really trying to define, categorize contempt as not really being an offense, and therefore, once you are sentenced based on contempt, you do not qualify to be granted pardon. All sort of, let me say, legal re-engineering, and classification and recategorization and all that. People really trying to.
I think people just want to rationalize their argument, rationalize and say that this is why it should not be done. But there's only one way you can rationalize legally.
Absolutely. It's so unfortunate that we've run out of time. I can see Ola Mangoti still has something to add, but it's unfortunate. But let me quickly wish Patrick Adolfo of New York a belated happy birthday. You celebrated your birthday on 20th of August, and I say belated happy birthday to you, Patrick Adolfo of New York. Just briefly, 30 seconds.
No, those who are doing those legal gymnastics, they are actually ashamed.
Oh, indeed.
They are ashamed.
Okay.
They are ashamed.
That's the final message from Ola Mangoti. Those people are ashamed.
They are just ashamed. They are ashamed.
It's been nice. Discussion has been interesting. But of course, like we always say, it's interesting how time flies when you are having fun. Inshallah, I'll be here next week, Wednesday. Till then, enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.